right, good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us bright and early. Wish that we had better news for you in terms of Japan, but it's more of the same. Yesterday, when you perhaps watched live on our airs, there was an explosion at the
logical standpoint. Think about when you look at the maps of the world, the tectonic plates and the way everything shifts and sits on a normal basis. Well, yesterday after this earthquake, Japan has now moved 8 feet.
This is incredible, isn't it?
8 feet. The whole
headlines.
Sure is.
Well, a lot of other news we're following for you this morning, including what's continuing to happen up in Wisconsin. Now, even though Governor Walker passed that collective bargaining stripping bill on Friday and removed that, and of course the Democrats were
who survived this horrible event, the earthquake and the tsunami, they are far from out of the woods. There are reports this morning that 1.4 million houses, it's critical because obviously cell phones are down, etc. So we're getting really dramatic pictures from the Arab League is pleading for the UN to impose a no-fly zone over Libya as Gaddafi's forces push deeper into rebel-held territory. The U.S. Geological Survey says the quake in Japan did more damage than we can see at the moment. It shifted Japan's main island by 8 feet. And another report says it caused the Earth's axis to move by 10 inches. So how does this happen, and is it possible to predict where an earthquake will strike next? Joining us from Sacramento, California is John. All right, meanwhile, the American hikers accused of spying in Iran are getting a new court date. Good morning, everyone. It's Sunday, March 13th. I'm Alisyn Camerota. We start this.
It's hour number 1. Those of you that didn't spring forward and get the clocks reset. But yes, it is hour number 2.
And a lot of news happening overnight. Japan telling the world yesterday that the nuclear explosion at one of its plants was contained, but new this morning word from the government that that very plant is on the verge of a meltdown.
So hard to know what the truth is, but David Piper is in Tokyo with
this earlier on said even if there was a full meltdown there, it would still be smaller than what we saw at Chernobyl, and the
just showing the stark before and after pictures, before the quake and after the quake. I mean, we're seeing
perspective for you, what they're facing in Japan.
All right, we do have some more news for you. Let's get to the 3 American hikers who were held in Iran. Well, Japanese Prime Minister Naoto Kan calls the earthquake and tsunami the country's
for years. They all said that the Japanese government always is prone to show
near the nuclear reactor. The 170,000 who have been evacuated, that's from the region around the Fukushima
to down and get them. Yeah, there's still a long ways to go.
Yumiko Ono from the Wall Street Journal in Japan. We appreciate your perspective this morning. Great reporting. We'll check back with you a little bit later. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right, meanwhile, back at home, Wisconsin.
Welcome into Fox and Friends on this Sunday morning. We start out with breaking news out of Japan. The country's prime minister now calling the deadly quake. He's mentioning that the 160,000 Americans living in Japan, of course, the 1,300 or 1,600.
And that effort will be the nearly 40,000 U.S. troops we have stationed in Japan, all of them thus far accounted for, so certainly they will help with that rescue and recovery effort. But more on this nuclear issue, how big a concern is it? We hear terms like meltdown, partial meltdown, thrown.
Welcome back, everyone. This morning, heavy fighting is being reported in Libya's oil town of Brega as forces supporting Colonel Gaddafi's advance on rebel-held strongholds. Leland Vittert is live in Benghazi.
Welcome back to Fox and Friends, everybody. Breaking news out of Japan this morning. We're learning that seawater is being
headlines right now because rebels in Libya continue to lose ground to the power of Muammar Gaddafi's forces. This as rebels are reportedly forced out of Brega this morning.